first.
Yo, what is up? I hope everybody is having a fantastic Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Hope everyone's doing good today. Hope everyone's enjoying their week. And training camp is officially over with, done with. I know the thumbnail I literally did in like 2 seconds. I spelt something wrong in the thumbnail, so I apologize for that. Like literally I had to leave to go to my girlfriend's house, and like I was making the thumbnail, and the thumbnail is wrong. I will change it after I know the wording on the thumbnail is totally wrong. But we are back today, and obviously everything's done now. It's over. I mean, we have 15, 16 days, I don't know how many days we have until the regular season starts. We have a preseason game this week. And we have a whole lot going on because the injury report is starting to get a little bit worrisome right now. And there are some questions going into the next few weeks. And, I feel good about the offense. Defense, I'm kind of up and down on, but I feel like we're going in the right direction with things. There are questions still. I think we'd all agree on that. But let's say hi to everybody in the chat. What's going on, Donnie? What's going on, Punjab? What's going on? Antonio, what's going on, dude? Chris Scott, what's going on, man? Caleb Smith, what's going on? Willis Jackson, Dustin Mercer, what's going on, dude? Chuck, what's going on, man? Durkan Mills says, dangerous Kellen Moore offensive hurts backing up the defense. I hear they bring Super Bowl Jalen Mills 31. Hopefully stay healthy. Now retired 9. You know what's funny about the whole Jalen Mills situation is that Chauncey Gardner-Johnson actually answered to a tweet talking about Chauncey and Jalen Mills as the starting safeties, and he was like, nah, I think we're good, man. We're good with what we have right now. So I know Jalen Mills is like got no job right now, kind of sitting back, seeing what's going on. But that's where we're at, so I don't think it's going to happen, especially as a starter. Definitely not. I think we're good where we are right now. So we'll see. But before we start anything, guys, this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Okay, and a word from our sponsors from SeatGeek. It seems like finding good sports price tickets are hard to come by. And as an Eagles fan, sometimes it's hard to empty your wallet for the best team in the world. Do you want to find the best tickets for your sporting event? Well, you're in luck because I found the best way. Now, I found the best way because we can invade Lincoln Financial Field easier, faster, and most of all, cheaper. I want to introduce you to SeatGeek. I have teamed up with SeatGeek that has over 28 million downloads. SeatGeek is the #1 rated ticket app with more than 70,000 events, including concerts, sports, festivals, and more. It's very easy. Pick the event you want to attend, which I'm going to be picking the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants on October 20th at 1 p.m. because I want Saquon Barkley to run over that team and really discuss the fans there as much as possible because he's a Philadelphia Eagle now, and I just want him to wreak havoc at MetLife. And yeah, it's 30 minutes from my house, so it's much easier. Once you pick the game you want to attend, choosing beyond a wide variety of tickets has never been easier. Each ticket is rated on a scale from 1 to 10. Green means amazing deal, orange means good deal, and red means bad deal. And trust me, guys, I'm going to say this with as much respect as possible. Nobody wants to be ripped off as much as we hate to be ripped off. So that's all I'm going to say. Because I care about you guys so much, I went above and beyond, and you're going to have a promo code to take $20 off your first order at SeatGeek for tickets. Promo code Joey Shakes. I repeat, that's $20 off your first order at SeatGeek. Promo code Joey Shakes. I want to thank SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. Now, let's get back to the content. All right, so we are really getting into some of the injuries that are kind of crazy right now. Now, we found out that there's a couple oblique injuries, which aren't the best injuries possible. Oblique injuries could take from a few days up to 3 weeks. Jalix Hunt and honestly, Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert is already hurt at this point. And, for a guy that misses 4 to 6 games per year, this is a huge problem for us. This is one of those issues where not only has Calcaterra been hurt already, Albert O is hurt right now. And, you just released CJ Uzomah. And to this point now, I think EJ Jenkins is probably going to make that number 3 tight end spot. From what it sounds like, he's going to make that number 3 tight end spot. So I think he's shown a lot of good things. CJ Uzomah was really bad. I mean, he hasn't been good since he was really with the Bengals a few years ago, and he was with the Jets last year. I think he had an injury. And I think another thing with this defense that I feel like that's been really good. I think Vic Fangio has taken really a big gamble at this point on a lot of players, especially changing positions, like Quinyon Mitchell, for example, like never played nickel, but still put him in that spot. So for the future, you're technically going to have a guy that's going to be in this defense that could potentially, be that hybrid guy outside, inside. Which is a great thing. I think it's a really good combination that you can have there. Really, another thing going forward is, Bryce Huff, the $17 million a year man that's in Philadelphia, the replacement, I guess, of Hassan Reddick, if you might say. And he's been taken out of position because he never has dropped in coverage with the New York Jets last year as a third down, heavy rotation type edge rusher like Bryce Huff was. I think is going to be really interesting. So for me, I feel like we've taken a lot of gambles defensively, and this is how you ruin players instantly. I feel like this is this is the moment where you start taking guys out of position because you want that player to fit your defense. What if the best player in the draft doesn't fit what you do? You know what I mean? Then you're going to be more analytical about your draft picks than you are about best player available. But it seems like they have been doing that the last few years, so I really can't complain about that situation going forward. You know what I mean? So I think the camp battles are pretty much done at this point. I mean, I know Trevor Keegan has a hip injury right now, so hopefully it's not bad. There will be time. We'll see who's dressed for this game and who's not dressed, especially at wide receiver 3. And I think that's where I'm really going to look. Because, we don't have really an answer. Are they going into the season going to use Paris Campbell as a starter and then use combinations of Johnny Wilson and, John Ross and some of these other guys, obviously Britton Covey, to kind of, be a mix in there? Or are they still looking for a wide receiver 3 now upon trade? Obviously, we talked about John Mechie. We've talked about Jahan Dotson. We've talked about maybe Alan Lazard from the Jets, if that's even possible. There's been a few rumors here or there about specific receivers that the Eagles could have interest in. So I'm not going to go crazy about it, but, things do happen. Let's see here. Let's see here. Donnie says, I heard Cooper DeJean going to play against Vikings, dude. Cool. Yeah, so Cooper DeJean will play on Saturday. How much it's going to be, I have no idea. I'm hoping it's like at least a couple series, maybe 3 series on defense, something like that. I'm guessing they're going to put him inside and outside. They're going to have him at multiple positions, most likely. But we don't really know what Cooper DeJean is going to be by the first regular season game, because they're just putting him at nickel and outside, but potentially he could be moved. I mean, I think a lot of Eagles fans really want him at that safety spot for Reed to be that third safety. And then obviously with James Bradberry there, we'll see how much they really care about James Bradberry. If James Bradberry is not even playing, I mean, he's not a starter this year. So it's going to be really interesting how this whole thing kind of pans out. Because I think realistically, DeJean will play. He'll be that Swiss Army knife for us, and that's what I'm really hoping for. I feel like you're weakening him by putting him at one position fully, but they have to start him somewhere and work his way up, because the physicality aspect of getting to these games and actually hitting, Cooper DeJean hasn't hit too much. He has just started on the last day of training camp to really get more physical in these practices. So we'll see. Chris said a positive the last 3 days that Moore and the offense looked great against the blitz, especially the last 2 days. Yeah, that's a great thing, man. That's a great thing. And you know how we were against the blitz last year. It seems like the Eagles just never adjusted. When teams adjusted to the Eagles offense, we just never adjusted back in a lot of ways. So it's kind of crazy. What's going on, Hector? Neil Cooper says, do you think Bradberry makes the team? Unfortunately, I do. I mean, we wanted this guy out like the first couple weeks of training camp, or at least by the preseason games. We kind of wanted. I don't know. Like I feel like when I watch Bradberry play, I'm not seeing everything fantastic from him. Whiff tackles. Just I don't know. There's some things that are just wrong at this point. But how Vic Fangio talks about him is literally a whole different aspect of the situation. Like he talks about James Bradberry, says, he's transitioning really well, high IQ type player. You can have a high IQ, but at the same time, like, can he make those open field plays? He can't even cover tight ends right now. And as a safety, you got to do that. It just makes me uncomfortable that he's here still. I mean, look, you're not going to get much for him. Like, I'm not expecting big draft capital, but you know what I mean? Like, but what do you have? Depth at safety, what do you really have right now? You have Tyler Hall that the Eagles just released later in the day today, so he can't. He's a nickel / safety type guy, so he's gone. So I'm guessing it's going to be James Bradberry and I guess Avonte Maddox, since he has been playing. I'm guessing he will be the backup nickel to Quinyon, and he will be the backup safety. I guess the number 3 at this point, or 4. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think Avonte Maddox makes this team because they're very low. They're very small, depth-wise at nickel and a little bit at safety. But I can't say that the depth is good just because James Bradberry is there, because I don't think I've seen enough. You know what I mean? Coverage-wise from him, I don't think you're going to get much out of it. I guess open field tackling, but I saw him whiff a couple tackles already, and I really wasn't too excited about it, to be honest with you. That's where I am with the whole situation going there. They says, Joey, congrats on the new sponsor. Awesome for you, but I appreciate it so much, man. Appreciate it so much, dude. It means a lot. Ron said, do you think Keeley is more ready for cornerback 2 more than Q? I know we have Isaiah, but if we didn't, who would you rather have a cornerback 2 between Ringo and Q? Me for this year, because you have more outside corners because you have less nickel corners this year. I would have, if Isaiah Rodgers was not here, Keely Ringo 1,000,000% would play on the outside. You keep Quinyon just for this year in the nickel, and then obviously push him outside. And then once Isaiah Rodgers leaves, obviously Slay gets traded or retires. Okay, you put Keely Ringo as that number 2 as of right now. I think because of just the situation itself, and I really hope that Quinyon Mitchell doesn't turn to another Landon Dickerson situation where they literally just they just keep him at nickel just because he's good at it, and they can't find anybody else. He's a first-round pick, bro. He needs to have more of that value on the outside by the 25 season next year. So that's what I'm really hoping. If Isaiah Rodgers wasn't here, this would be very easy. That's not a hard question. I don't know if it was to stump me a little bit, Rylan, but it is pretty easy. Keely Ringo has had a fantastic offseason program, fantastic camp. So that's where I'm at with it. Big Sar says Maddox will get injured stepping off the bus in Brazil. That's not good, man. That's really not good. I'm hoping that he does stay healthy. That's where it's really going to matter, where it's really going to count. He's got to stay healthy. I feel like if Bradbury is staying right now, the nickel position, who else is really playing nickel at a high level right now? I don't know. I know if I get a healthy Avonte Maddox, he will be a good nickel for us. But other than that, the problem is he's not starting and he's not going to get much playing time right now. So we'll see how this goes. But this is the perfect situation where when Cooper DeJean gets to be in play this season, and there will be injuries, Cooper DeJean will have a lot of playing time. Cooper DeJean's a first-round talent. He should be playing a lot this year. They could throw him anywhere. They could throw him at nickel. They could throw him at safety. They could throw him at outside linebacker, or at linebacker if they want. In case they have a matchup that they're having trouble with, and if Cooper DeJean can keep up with everybody, then you put him in that spot and do that. You know what I mean? So I think that's definitely in question. Offensive line-wise, Tyler Steen has already been hurt twice this offseason. He got hurt once last year, so his case isn't looking fantastic right now. I think, obviously, Mekhi Becton, when playing, has been better, and obviously being more available is going to get you the job a lot closer than it is with Tyler Steen. Trevor Keegan has had a fantastic camp. Okay, for a fifth-round pick, Trevor Keegan is going to, I think, if the Eagles keep Mekhi Becton after this year and he plays really well, I think it will be, Lane Johnson will retire in a couple years to 3 years down the road. So how I'm really looking at this point is, I think if Lane Johnson retires, Mekhi Becton moves to right tackle, I think Trevor Keegan to Tyler Steen will be your starting right guard for the future. That's where it will be in a few years. But that's a few years down the road, so we need to see we don't know what Trevor Keegan or Tyler Steen is going to look like at that point. Hector says, if you notice, Maddox only got hurt playing nickel. Yeah, that's been his main position. The only time he played safety was early in his career. I don't know if it was his rookie year or his second year. I keep forgetting. I think Rodney McLeod ended up getting hurt one year. I think he was out a few weeks or something like that, and he took over that safety spot for a game, and he actually didn't play bad. I mean, he had that pick, which was great. I forgot what game it was. I think it was the Patriots game. He had that pick in the end zone, which was great, which was fantastic. So we'll see what happens with that. Tyler says, how do you feel about Ben Van Sermon? I think he's a freak athlete, man. I think he's a really good player. I think the couple of plays that he's made in training camp, especially in the Patriots game or even the Ravens game, but it was goal line and he made a couple stops there, which was good. It really comes down to terminology, but I think as a backup rotational guy, if they want to use him later on, they could. I mean, I think he's had a better offseason this year. I think he's produced a little bit more this year, but I do like him. When I say solid, I don't mean that he's fantastic, but I think relatively he's gotten better, and I think, potentially there could be something there. Is it right now? I guess we'll find out in the near future. Big Star said, if you watch the Eagles draft, Video Keegan was one of their Red Star players. I'm happy we got him. Yeah, I mean, it really doesn't surprise me just because he started for Michigan for 3 years, didn't give up a sack for 2 years, is a vocal leader, captain. I mean, has got a big voice at Michigan, national champion, so he's Brian Baldinger went over some tape on him. His blocking is very good. Run blocking is really good. He's very physical. Doesn't take rests off a play or nothing like that. So Trevor Keegan has shown a lot. Really, I think the Eagles have found some gems for this offensive line for the future. Guys, this is why the Eagles don't dip in the free agency for offensive linemen, because the Eagles know how to produce them. Because of Jeff Stoutland and Jeff Stoutland University, that's what happens, man. That's what you get. Says, I hope Ross does not make the team. He is trash, can't even track a football. Well, yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I think he's gotten some separation. I don't think he's had the right quarterback throwing him the football. I think that's been the main part of it. I think another part of his game is he doesn't attack the football more, where he's way too passive when the ball comes to him. I think he needs to start attacking just a little bit more. And it seems like for kick returns, he's been pretty damn good, I got to say. He had one good return. I mean, that's just one, but I feel like he's got that kickoff return ability. He's got the speed for it. So I don't think he's off the table of making a roster spot, especially where, Johnny Wilson's been out of the concussion still. You have Paris Campbell with his groin injury finally coming back. I wonder if Paris Campbell's going to get some playing time. If Paris Campbell is dressed on Saturday afternoon, that means to me that he is the starter, that they're not going after a wide receiver. I think that's where everything plays into. Because to be honest with you, the third preseason game, you're going to see some guys that you're going to want to see. But at the end of the day, most of these roster spots, or really most of the spots that a lot of these guys are competing for, are guys that know they're falling off the roster and not going to have a job, and this is really their only moment. And getting that practice squad spot is going to be really important for some of these guys. So that's what most of these guys are playing for. But there is still a lot to watch it here. You're still going to see these linebackers. I wonder if they're going to dress Nakobe Dean for this game. I would think maybe, Trotter Jr. should be playing a little bit. I mean, your starting linebackers right now are still Devin White and Zach Bond as of right now. I really want to see what's the favoritism with Zach Bond, if he's actually going to be really good. I don't know if he is, but I hope he shows me something. And I guess we'll find out when the time comes. No, you're good, man. You're good. No, I get it. To me, that's not really that question about would you rather if Isaiah Rodgers was out of the picture, would you rather have what would you do? Yeah, Ringo would be on the outside like automatically. Like, because you move Quinion to the outside, who do you have on the inside right now? That's what alarms me. That's what really alarms me right now when it comes to nickel position. So they really have no choice but to keep Quinion there. Once after this year, obviously, yeah, I think going in next year's draft, I think edge rusher, corner, especially nickel corner, which they don't have to get in the first round. Obviously, you never draft nickel corners in the first round. You'll have plenty of value to the second, third rounds of next year. So I really, you're going to get offensive line. You're going to get edge rusher. I would probably think, and you're probably going to go after a nickel corner most likely in the draft next year. So should be really interesting. I did not see Jalen's press conference today at all. I did not. I didn't have time to watch it today. I was going to watch it tonight. I haven't had the chance, though. So am I the only one that thinks we should not trade or try to sign another wide receiver and just let the guys we got play see? No, it's not weird at all. Like, it's not. Well, but, if I hear something, if I hear a report that's going around, okay, Tim McManus that works as a beat writer, that hears things, that he hears certain things, Tim McManus is close to the Eagles when it comes to reporting on them. So when he says the Eagles are definitely going to get another wide receiver, it starts to spike my interest a little bit that they might do it. Now, Paris Campbell might be the starter. They might rest. If Paris Campbell is not dressed on Saturday and not even play after he's been out most of camp with that groin, not most of camp, but recently with full pads and being physical, hasn't been through that aspect of it yet. Okay, if he goes in there, if he plays, then I feel like there is a wide receiver at play. But if he doesn't, he is starting, and I think they will use a combination of receivers. It's not off the table. They might use all these guys combination-wise. You need to have a pure starter that's going to get more of the reps, but you need, you're going to be using a combination of guys. How many receivers are you keeping? 5, 6? I think between 5 and 6 is more relative, so we'll see what happens. And just remember, guys, the cuts so after Saturday's game, the Eagles are going to start to slim down this roster by Tuesday. Tuesday is the last day where they start all these cuts. I think they can start cutting guys by the weekend, really, after Saturday. So we'll see what happens with that. Big Sarge, Joey, do you know anything else about Tyler Hall, the guy we got from the Raiders? Yeah, he's released. He went on IR with an injury. He got released today. The news just came out today that Tyler Hall is officially out. He's done with the Eagles. They worked on a injury settlement, was released today. So it's unfortunate, man. I had a lot of hope for that guy to make some noise this year at that nickel spot, because he is a hybrid guy that plays nickel and safety, which is pretty damn good. Plus, even, just not a lot of playing time with the Raiders. Like the part where he got his opportunities, man, his statistics look really good because he hasn't played that much. But when he does, he shows up. And the Eagles took a chance, and apparently it's just, because of his injury, it just didn't work out. So that's where we are with the Tyler Hall situation. What's going on, Eagles Uncut? Hope you're doing good, man. Hope you're doing fantastic. KSF3455 says the Cowboys will tie every game this season to be the first team to have 0 wins and 0 losses. Yeah. We're going to find out what they're all about this year. I say an 8-win season, and I would say a 7 to 9 win season for the Cowboys this year. It's probably where I'm at, but I think 8 wins is where I have them at right now. But we'll see what happens. What's going on, Ian? What's going on, dude? Michael said Jalen admitted to being injured last season. Then I feel, well, yeah, dude. I mean, that's if that's what he said at his press conference. Okay, it obviously he was injured, bro. That, how many QB draws they ran last year? I mean, they ran QB draws, and they used him way too much. Like, they had no creativity in this offense, which made they just ran the ball with Jalen Hurts, a snap and run. I mean, how many times did they do that? His knee got injured. We lost a big part of it, the one of the elements for offense, which is his rushing ability. Look at the 21 season. I mean, look at how Jalen Hurts looked in that season, how fast he was. Even compared, look how fast he is now. Look at some of the video of him running around. It's absolutely amazing. That speed is back with Jalen Hurts. So, of course he was hurt. Even that Cowboys game when he got hit in his legs and he was crawling off the field. And you know what that man did? He went right back into the game and threw a touchdown. That's where I really have to give him a lot of credit, man. It's just a lot of credit there. So T says Quinion outside and base defense. Yes. Goes inside for nickel. Could be a good idea. Yeah. I think it's great, dude. I think it's fantastic. He's going to get work at nickel outside, and then hopefully by next year, you're switching him to the outside. Make Keely Ringo your number 2. And obviously nickel will be a big question going into next season. No doubt. No doubt. It's a Philly thinks that Jalen Hurts is the second best quarterback behind Patrick Mahomes. I feel like he is. I feel like with the coaching aspect and how it's been running these last few years because of one side really failing or both sides continuously failing at times, I feel like there is, I don't think there's a learning curve. And when people say he had a down year last year, I don't think it's ever been a down year. I just think, play calling has been a subpar, and Jalen Hurts has had to deal with that the whole entire year last year. Have a lot of faith in Jalen Hurts going forward, Tyler said, really hoping Keely starts like that, dude. A lot met him, and he signed my jersey last year at Seahawks. Yeah, oh, that's cool. He will have his shot, dude. He would be, if Isaiah Rodgers wasn't here, he'd be ready right now. But it's nice to have Isaiah Rodgers. You have I would say not really a veteran, but someone that's been in the league for 3 years. It definitely helps. But Isaiah Rodgers has started more times during training camp across from Slay at that cornerback 2 spot. Dave K says, Joey, I think the running back is going to be tough cuts. We have 4 legit running backs, maybe squeeze 5. I think they will squeeze 5, at least 1 for practice squad if they're going to do that. So I think you're going to have 4. Your regulars, you're going to have Saquon Barkley. Kenneth Gainwell is having a fantastic camp. I will eat my words on that. Kenneth G is doing fantastic. And, I would say Davis Price, I think is going to be your number 4 back. I like Kendall Milton. I think Nichols will probably be the odd man out. But Davis Price, man, I got to say it. I love how he gets to the line. He's very, he's got that Le'Veon Bell type run style where he gets to the line. He's very patient. And then once he finds that big hole, that vertical, vertical gap that he could find right there, that lane he could find, he goes into another, he really goes to another bit of speed. So, I think Price has been fantastic. I've really had no issues with the running back position. I think are great, man. I felt fantastic about it. D might say, would you rather keep 3 tight ends or 4 running backs? I'd rather keep 3 tight ends, 100%. 4 running backs, I could go with 3. I could go with 3 running backs instead of 4. But they're going to keep 4. And why not? You know what I mean? Tight end is an injury mess right now. Dallas Goedert has no bleak injury right now. Albert O is out right now. Calcaterra just came back from injury. You know what I mean? We'll see. We'll see. Tight end is a mess, man. I'm hoping that new guy, I just said his name earlier. I just had a brain fart again. But they just released CJ Usama. We'll see how it goes. What's going on, D? Andrew says, Joey, you have any concerns of Saquon Barkley having injury issues throughout the season? No, not really. I mean, we had an injury scare the other day, but he was fine. I'm not really worried about it like other people are worried about it. Like, the guy's going to play. He's making a lot of money. He's getting the money that he wants, $12 million a year for the next 2 years. And then, we'll have an option year, his 3rd year. And I'm not really worried about it, man. I mean, look, you're always worried about everybody getting injured. That's just part of the game. We could say, what if this guy gets injured? What if that guy gets injured? You know what I mean? It's going to happen. Guys will miss games. Guys will miss the entire season, and I'm hoping we stay healthy. Knock on wood. Like, I don't want anybody hurt, but I'm hoping they stay healthy. And, just to say your prayers every day for this team, every single week, that they stay healthy. And relatively that they, don't get so crazy about the injury list, because if guys have a bruise, they'll keep them out for a day. They'll keep guys out on little tiny things. They don't want to push guys on top of little injuries. That could make injuries worse later on. So, yeah, Cheese says, I like Milton. He's more of a power runner. Yeah, I think Price is not much of a receiving back, okay? I like Price as a north and south runner. I think Kendall Milton is the biggest power back we have right now. And I do like him. I would definitely use him. If they feel like if he's the better man at number 4, then perfectly fine. I have no issue with it. KSF says, on a more serious note, Eagles' offense is scheduled to be top 5. We're about to see very good IQ from Jalen Hurts. I think defense will be top 10 to 12. If we beat Green Bay, we're Super Bowl bound. Yeah, I mean, look, I wouldn't take too much out of one game. Obviously, you have to take, you have to, the first game is the first game. It's always a toss-up game because it's the first game of the season. And not in a place, this is supposed to be our home game. We're going to Brazil. We're traveling Friday night. Both teams are dealing with the same thing, okay? And it's gonna be an interesting thing what happens to that game. It's gonna be a close game. I'm not gonna say Super Bowl bound after 1 week. That's just ridiculous. But I respect everybody's opinion. But you're facing a good team. Philly Bird says Jason Poe. Yeah, Jason Poe was the offensive lineman that was signed. When they released CJ Usama to fill that roster spot. Jason Poe is just going to be a guy fighting for a spot, which he's probably not going to get. So nothing crazy there. Todd's excited to see his offense utilize the middle of the field. Smitty and AJ going to feast. Everybody's going to feast. It's not just them. We're going to be checking down the running backs. We're going to be screen passing to running backs. We're going to be throwing to running backs in the receiving game. Using tight ends, utilizing tight ends, 12-man person. I mean, it's going to be great, man. I feel good about it. Yeah, Jenkins. That's what EJ Jenkins. EJ Jenkins, I think right now is the tight end 3. I don't think he's the 2 right now. But we'll see what the depth chart looks like. He could be the number 2 in the future. We'll see. EJ Jenkins, 6'6", 200. I think he's like between 235 to 245. I mean, EJ Jenkins is a big dude at tight end. He's a big dude at tight end. She said, if this offense is clicking on all cylinders, the league better be worried. That's what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. They better be. They better be. Oops, I mean do that. Oh yeah, dude. There's no excuse for this offense this year. I think we all know this. Okay. I think we're all there. Hector Rangel says Dallas needs the Brent Selleck treatment, even if it becomes tight end 2. Yeah. Big Star, where's Chip Kelly and his smoothies? That's the one thing we have to take from Chip Kelly era. The one thing we could take from the Chip Kelly era, because these guys on defense, when we had Billy Davis as the defensive coordinator, they're off, like they're to keep their bodies in check, and what, I forgot the sports science that Chip Kelly had with this team and keeping guys healthy. I gotta say, they kept guys relatively healthy for the amount of snaps they played all year. You know what I mean? Flippers, you think they call it a home game for us since they have to travel a little bit further? No, I don't. It's not going to matter. It makes no difference, bro. Jaco Kuraku Makai 77 says, is it possible that Roseman trades for defensive end by week 8 or not 8 to 9 if the defensive ends aren't doing well? The problem I have with the edge rushers right now is I feel like we're not actually rushing the quarterback. I feel like I'm just looking at it from what I've seen from 17 days of training camp. Josh Sweat, I've heard nothing this offseason. Besides his number changing to 19, which I think is ridiculous, have heard nothing from Josh Sweat. Nolan Smith has not played well. I'm sorry, but he hasn't. That man has not gotten pressure. That man has no technique, has no toolbox. He's straight up bull rushing tackles. He's not going to win that way. They have to wide nine his ass all the way to the outside and let him give Nolan Smith space against tackles and let him work a crease to get his pass rushing skills will evolve if they move him out a little bit wider. For me, I just feel like Nolan Smith is just right now. It's not, for me, I don't think it's not looking good right now for him. Jalix Hunt on the perimeter, fantastic. 6'3", 6'4", 242 pounds. I mean, Jalix Hunt, holy shit, dude. That man can cover tight ends, running backs in the flat, even coming out of coverage backing up as a defensive end out of coverage. His coverage is great. The Eagles have put more resources into their secondary more than their defensive line. I think we know this. I like Jalix Hunt. I like Bryce Huff. Okay, the problem I have right now is that there's just not enough guys to get after the quarterback. I don't know. For me, I haven't seen the pressure on the edge. In practice, they're seeing it, but it's practice. It's against their own guys. Sometimes it's against a better player against a true backup. So it all goes into full circle of what they're really doing. It just kind of gets annoying at a point. See here. What's going on, GG? Says Joey, what's up, brother? Listening at work. Hope you're doing well. GG, welcome to. Appreciate you coming in the chat, my friend. Haven't seen you in a while. Haven't talked to you in a while. See here. If your knees hit the ground before you make the tackle, you miss the tackle. That was so. They were impersonating. The players were impersonating their coaches, and Jordan Davis said that today. I thought that was fucking hilarious. Hey, look, dude, that's a hard-nosed coach you have in Vic Fangio, bro. I have to give it credit, you know. Nolan Smith isn't a pass rush. He needs to play off ball. That's where I think he gained 10 to 12 pounds of muscle, but it seems like it hasn't really paid off. I mean, he was training on technique this offseason. Kwity Paye, and he's been working with Kwity Paye the whole offseason. You know? It's been kind of crazy. She says Nolan is just an athletic freak right now. He needs to work on his fundamentals big time. Yeah, I mean, he's got all the tricks, he's got all the traits, but he just doesn't know how to use them. Like how they used him in Georgia when it comes to off ball, I think he was great. I think utilizing his athleticism, fantastic. But as an edge rusher, you can't line him up right in front of a tackle. Like you can't line him up within a yard and a half in front of a tackle. That man needs to spread out wide in a wide nine formation, something, I don't know. Give him more space, have him work a crease. And that's where I think you're going to see those tools start to pop right out with Nolan Smith. And I feel like that's just bull rushing fucking tackles is not going to work, bro. It's just not. Richie FC say, Joey, if the Eagles sign trade for a third wide receiver, what amount of continuity and timing would Hurts have with the wide receiver by week 1? Just put Covey in the third. Well, look, yeah, if you sign a receiver late, obviously you need to work on getting the guy up to speed with everything. So I don't think that's really the biggest problem. Really, I don't. Within 2 weeks of the season, he'll be fine, whoever they do sign or trade for. But like I said, them using a mixture of multiple receivers is perfectly fine. The one thing we have to look for on Saturday, like I said earlier in the stream, but the one thing we have to look for right now is we have to look for if Paris Campbell is dressed. If he is not dressed for this game on Saturday, I believe he is starting. And they're going to stick with what they have right now. From what Kellen Moore said, they think, Kellen Moore said what earlier today or yesterday, I forgot. I think it was the other day. Yesterday, he said that they want to mix up, use a multitude of guys at wide receiver 3, and that's what they'll do for specific plays. Hopefully they don't make things too obvious because of substitutions, kind of like what they did last year. When you sub guys, you sub a guy in and you're doing the same play he did a week before, teams are picking up on that shit every single week. So that's where I'm at with that situation going forward. Hector Rangel says, Fangio has the edge rushers playing with their eyes up more instead of bull rushing. Huff talked about it, but he says he likes it. That's great. But just think about this, bro. Fangio says that Bryce Huff is learning a new position. He is learning a new position because he never dropped in coverage with the Jets, ever. They have more of an aggressive scheme over there. Okay, Quinyon Mitchell never played nickel. That's a huge gamble to be a brand new defensive coordinator, taking the Eagles' first round pick and saying, you're playing nickel right now. It's a really tough angle. I think because Isaiah Rodgers was in the building, they knew what they had in Keely Ringo, going to get better this year. Obviously with Eli Ricks there, so there are some guys that had starting opportunities last year because of injuries, and now getting better in the offseason. I think Fangio took a lot of risk, and it seems like it's paying off. It seems like with Bryce Huff, it's paying off. It seems like with Quinyon Mitchell is paying off. But I think what's the biggest thing that's paying off right now is Brandon Graham mentoring the defensive line, especially Bryce Huff. Darius Slay mentoring Quinyon Mitchell. Now, the last couple days, the last of this week, I've seen a couple of stupid reports of people saying that the Eagles are going to trade Darius Slay, and I just don't get it, dude. Like, if the Eagles were going to trade Slay, it would have already happened. They wouldn't wait this long. Oh, yeah, he's just mentoring the guys till they're good, and then they're just going to get rid of him. It's not going to happen. Plus, it makes no sense money-wise. If you straight up just, trade Slay, it's like $40 million in dead cap. It's not going to happen. It's almost impossible. The Eagles would just make a stupid move, number one. And number two, towards the financial aspect, it would look even worse going forward. That's where we're at with that situation. Yeah, I think Hunt is going to be a good player. Like this year, I think he'll go through his ups and downs, but I think he's going to have a good year. I feel really good. Came from a small school, transition from safety to fucking edge rusher, now off ball. Has played off ball, especially in, with his size, what he did in that school, fantastic. I think he'll be a good player. I think Bryce Huff will be a better player in the future. I think he can have a 10-sack season this year. It seems like this past week, Bryce Huff has really turned it up, getting sacks. But really what the defensive line in general, it really starts with Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. That's where it really starts with those two guys. Rockstay, what's up, bro? T said, Nolan looks fine. 2 sacks and limited snaps. People expect him to magically sack starters. He's winning against who he's supposed to. Yeah, but dude, a sack. Let's count these 2 sacks. Number one, the first sack he wasn't even blocked. Okay, last year in the Miami game, he was unblocked. He had a sack on Tua. It wasn't even touched. Sometimes that just happens. But he made a play, so that's a good thing. But how much am I supposed to take out of that first sack when he's unblocked? Okay, number 2, the second sack that he got. Okay, the second sack that he got, he was chipped he bull rushed the tackle, went nowhere. The running back chipped from the outside, and it pushed him right into the lane. Does that count as him getting to the quarterback, getting a sack? Is it on the stat sheet? Yes, but He got pushed into the lane, dude. Like, he really didn't have to do much of anything. You know what I mean? Like, every time I talk about Nolan Smith, people get pissed off, and I don't know why. Like, we haven't seen much of anything from Nolan Smith this offseason. Not much. You know? I respect everybody's opinion. Trust me. This is just what I think, and that's just it. That's all. Philly Birds 215 said, I've loved J-Look since we drafted him. He's going to be a dog, and he has a cool name. Oh, yeah, dude. I'll make sure to have, if he becomes a big player in Philadelphia, I will have a shirt out in a half a second. I already have an idea for a shirt for him, by the way. That's going to look pretty awesome. Rose says, who do we keep, Maddox or Bradbury? They're going to keep both of them. From what it looks like, they have to keep both. Number one, safety depth is bad. And number two, nickel is bad. Nickel's depth is horrible right now. Not good. Now, if they feel like they can keep Maddox because he can play both positions, nickel and safety, then they feel like they can get rid of Bradbury and have him take over those, and have Maddox take over those two spots if somebody goes down, then they'll have enough room. You know, they'll save a roster spot to put depth onto another position if they need to. Hector says, Nolan's going to be great when dealing with faster QBs. He covers a lot of ground, making players outside the hat. You know, dude, when it comes to him in open space, I think he's great. I think his movement, I think as an aggressive tackler that he is, I think his athleticism, I think in coverage, I think he'll be fine. But what we're lacking on the edge right now, from what we haven't seen with our own two eyes too much, is really that, you know, the getting to the quarterback from the edge position. That's where I think we're lacking. And look, they're making a lot of plays during the preseason. To me, it's just I haven't seen enough. So it doesn't mean that they can't do it, but I just haven't seen enough. So hopefully we're surprised, which makes this whole entire thing more exciting going for the future. Ron said, you think Job or McPherson gets cut or both? I don't think they both make the team. No. I don't think they both. Just remember last year, Zach McPherson was supposed to be the backup. Job was the backup to Slay last year. Job was the backup to Slay. McPherson was the backup to Avonte Maddox. Maddox gets hurt. McPherson tears his ACL, and they have to put Eli Ricks to the inside. They had to put Keely Ringo to the inside. They even put Bradbury to the inside last year. Can't do that because none of those guys can play on the inside. None of them can. Keely Ringo will never be an inside guy. Eli Ricks will never be an inside guy unless they work with him another season to get into that position. I don't know, but I highly doubt it. Nathan says, we have to look and see if those tiny hands are a mess of noodles under Puckett's gloves. Let's see. Rocksteady says, that's a lot of dough for just potential Huff situation. Yeah, I know, dude. When Huff got the camp, Vic Fangio was like, oh, he's not a 3-down edge rusher yet. I'm like, he's not yet? He doesn't even kind of look like he is? One season with 10-plus sacks, 43% of the snaps. You paid him $17 million a year. You're not talking about a guy that had 3 double-digit sack seasons in 3 years. You're talking off 1 double-digit sack year with 10. Okay? And then as training camp did go on, Fangio did say the last time we talked about Huff, the last time he talked about him saying that he's trending in the right direction. So hopefully that's a big difference, a 17-day difference, a 2.5-week difference to what we heard about him beginning of camp. You know, so I feel like he will be good. So we'll see. Philly says, Huff is only 26 AK his prime. He'll get it together. Hector says, watch Nolan's untouched sack again. He faked, dipped inside, and beat the left tackle outside. I don't know. From what I saw, he went right in and got the tackle. I didn't see him make another move, but maybe I could be making. I'm just seeing what I'm seeing in time. That's all. Jurgen Mills says, Joey, what do you think about the kick return? It's weird, but I don't think I like it, the original kick return, but let's see. I actually like it, to be honest, because you actually have to scheme for it now. Because you have one wall on one side on the kick team, you have one wall for the kick return team, and, like, you got to be real careful because big plays are going to happen now. Like, kick returns are going to be more crazy now. Like, if you're, they've made it to where, like, now you really have to scheme it and you have to make it look right. I think it's actually good. I actually have liked it as the time went on when it came to kick return. So, hopefully Michael Clay has these guys prepared and ready for all of that, and hopefully we'll see more. Let's see. Jakura says, Huff ain't a bust. There is a clear talent in him. We've seen that. Oh, no, I totally, there is a talent. Yeah, but the problem is now they're putting him more in coverage now. So the numbers are going to dwindle. I don't know. I'm hoping for a 10-sack season from him. He's got the attributes to do it. Okay, we watched his film from last year. He's a reckless edge rusher. I mean, he is just physical as hell. His motor is really good, but now he has increased snaps this year. He's not playing 43% of the snaps. Still in a heavy rotate. He's still in a rotation for the Eagles, not as heavy, but he's got to pick things up. And I think he's trending in the right direction from what Vic Fangio said. And it seems like he's been doing this past week and a half. It's been pretty damn good. So we got Bobby Babinski. What's going on, my friend? Pink Floyd, love that album. Defense is too young, still a year away. We'll see. If you think that this defense is really going to fall apart that much, I don't think it is. I understand you have a new defensive coordinator, but you have a defensive coordinator now that is now you're not just throwing guys at positions. You're seeing if Fangio could sense the talent, if Fangio could sense that there's a player out there that could play multiple positions and a guy that could play from one position to another, okay, that's a really good sign. He took a gamble on a couple players, really took them out of position and added more to their reputation, really, add more to what they could really do. I'm not going to say that they need another year. Yeah, another year will probably help under the same DC. It would be nice. Vic Fangio will be here for a few years. We'll probably say. But at the same time, like, I don't think the defense is going to be as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be. I haven't really heard from a lot of people that the defense is going to be bad. It shouldn't be a bad defense. Yes, a lot of new faces. You have some veterans in there, so it's not like this is purely just a young team, but it is very young. Just think of it. 2017 Super Bowl. The Eagles were the second oldest roster behind the Broncos. The second oldest roster that year. Okay, and look how far we've come. This is what happens. Like, we're not used to this. So for you to ask a question like that or to make a statement like that, I completely get it. But this is the growing pains these young players have to go through. I don't think the growing pains will last too long with specific players, but I think the nucleus of this team, where it starts with the defensive line and really going outward to your linebackers and going to these cornerbacks, and I think there's a lot to look forward to. I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks it's going to be. So I appreciate the opinion, no doubt. You know what I mean? So I get it. There probably are people out there like yourself that are saying, hey, way too young. They need another year. And do you think it's going to be that bad? Really, the next question, Bobby, for you is, like, where do you rank them against the pass? Where do you rank them against the run? Will they get to the QB a lot this year? How many sacks will this defense get? How many interceptions will they get this year? I think it's going to change dramatically. I think you're going to be surprised. I think everyone else is going to be really surprised. So that's where I lay my ground right there with everything that's really going on. So appreciate the super chat, by the way, Bob. Let's see here. Philly Bird says first round pick doesn't mean he's going to succeed in the NFL. No, I mean, there's a lot of first round picks over time in history that never succeeded in the NFL. But all I'm saying is this, like, once you see something and they're good at it, like Quinyon Mitchell, right? He's playing inside, making plays. Then he goes to the outside in basic defense, and he's still making plays. He's getting good work against Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown, okay? That's the best talent you're going to face. We don't have our Jalen Reagor, a Travis Fulgham, a J.J. Arcega-Whiteside that go against in practice. What kind of true test are you really getting from that? Iron sharpens iron, bro. He's had the best work possible against the best. You know what I mean? He's going against two receivers that just got paid a lot of money right now. Philly Burst 215 says, to be honest, Jordan Davis is on the hot seat. 1,000,000%. Okay. I think Jordan Davis could be in Philadelphia for another year. If he plays bad this year, sure. But at the same time, okay, we need to see the Jordan Davis we saw beginning of last season. We thought he was just a run stuffer, but damn, we saw more than that. We saw a guy that had a really mean pass rush and then fell off. But everybody fell off. A lot of people did fall off. So Jordan Davis needs to have a big year. If he doesn't have a big year this year, he's probably not going to get paid. Probably most likely will not get paid. And will stay in Philadelphia as a remainder. Or maybe the Eagles say, hey, maybe we'll trade him and try to sign another DT in the draft. Or, try to, either draft one or, I don't think the Eagles will have interest in signing a DT to big money. I highly doubt it. But I feel good about Jordan Davis, the good shape that he's in, and everybody's talking about this. He's been very disruptive during this offseason program. I understand we have to wait till the first game, and this is with everybody. This is the gamble that you take every offseason program. This is what happens. But I feel good. Him and Jalen Carter should be nice. Don't count out Milton Williams is not going to be a Philadelphia Eagle. So they make the decision. Do they sign Milton Williams or do they sign Jordan Davis? Because Milton Williams is a free agent after this year. Jordan Davis is a free agent after next year. So Milton Williams is going to get paid, dude. You got to see some of the video I did see. Somebody was at the Patriots joint practice. This wasn't recorded by a beat writer. Somebody was at the Patriots joint practice and recorded some of the offensive line, defensive line drills. Milton Williams, it was killing them. I mean, he was disruptive as disruptive could be. I got to find that video. I think I did retweet it. It should be on my Twitter. If you guys haven't followed me on X, link in the description, by the way. Any questions or anything, you can always DM me. Another year, Slay will be gone. Yes. Most likely, yes. See here. Bobby Babinski with the super chat says NFL rigging it for Detroit. I see Philly and Ravens. There's a possibility there. I don't trust Lamar Jackson in the big moments. I don't. Every time he's in a big moment, he just crumbles. And that's just me, though. But so the biggest thing that concerns about me is Huff. His arms are short to be an elite pass rusher. Even shorter pass rushers have long arms to get leverage, and he doesn't. I mean, but dude, like Milton Williams has short arms for a DT, and he's been pretty damn good every single year. Obviously, last year everybody had a down year, but he's gotten better every single year. But from what you saw on the tape last year, does it look like he needs his? Does it look like the short arms are really killing him at this point? Not really. I think when you're a smaller player or maybe your metrics aren't as good, you really have to base your play off of a lot of technique. And I think honestly, that's what Bryce Huff does the best. Technique wise, that's what he's doing. So appreciate the super chat again, man. Makai says, honestly, haven't heard a lot of Davis lately. I'm not concerned, and I'm not concerned. Please tell me he's not cheating. Is that no, dude? I've heard Jordan Davis has been wrecking. He's been tackling Saquon in the backfield. He's been knocking guys over. He's been an absolute monster this camp. Oh, if you haven't heard anything from Jordan Davis, then you missed out on a lot of news this last 17 days because he's had a fantastic camp. Fantastic. I agree. I was talking about Nolan being a first rounder, and he's going to be the guy. Look, if he doesn't do anything this year, he's a total bust. I mean, I don't know. Me and Philly were talking about it like a few days ago. He's like, I'd probably give him one more year. I'm like, one more year. I guess one more year because his rookie year, like, at least last year, really, last year was like he ended up getting hurt. You didn't have a defensive coordinator, didn't know how to use players at all. Sean Desai was demoted. Worst thing they could have done was demote him and get Matt Patricia in there. Incorporate things mid-season. You never incorporate new things mid-season. You incorporate little bit of things like slight changes, but you don't incorporate a new defense, new play calls, putting guys out of position to their weaknesses. That's one of the things that you can't do. Rusa, you think they keep 3 tight ends? Yes, 100% they will. They need 3 tight ends. They can't just keep 2. They need 3, dude. They need 3. The injuries are just Jesus. CH says, hey, Joey, listen, I know I'm late, but I need an update on Dallas Goedert. How bad is it? I haven't for so Goddard has no oblique injury right now, so that injury could take up to a few days to 3 weeks. So I'm hoping he doesn't miss the first game. So I really can't answer that for you. I don't want to be yelled at by you if I give you the wrong decision. Davis says, good year for Davis does not mean sacks, not his intent on the team. No, it has nothing to do with sacks. Being disruptive, yes. I don't care about the sacks, dude. Because obviously you get pressure on QBs, you get pressure, they throw a bad pass, the secondary should be all over it. The faster they're disrupted, the faster they get to the quarterback, the more mistakes that will happen, the more our backfield is going to benefit from it on coverage, no doubt. And I think it's coming, dude. The one thing they've been really bad at the last few years is dropping easy picks. They've been doing that way too much. But no, Davis, I'm not looking at him. Like, if he gets 4 to 6 sacks, 3 to 5 sacks, that's what I'm really looking for with Davis with his numbers, to be honest. Bob with another super chat. Thank you so much. What's your favorite horror movie? Mine, Nightbreed. Favorite? Probably Texas Chainsaw Massacre. From a mentally distorted, probably one of the most when some like gore is gore, but when there's no gore and it's literally just like it creeps you out, like I feel like there's things that make me uncomfortable, unsettling. Like my body is on like a high that I can't calm down from. Those are the type of movies that I like. So I would say TCM most likely is probably one of the ones that really creeps me out a lot, especially the first movie. I'm saying the first movie. Nate said they should just call the last year a 10-1, then paper bag with eye holes cut out. I mean, pretty much. You're not wrong there. Philly Bird says 2-5 for me. Says Nolan needs 5 sacks and a good amount of pressure. That's. I mean, yes. I mean, he should have 5 sacks this year. The problem I have right now, and like I said, it's coming down to how disruptive he could be. Is his technique going to be better? Is he going to be more of an edge rusher? Is he going to be a balance between edge rusher and coverage, or will he be pure coverage? I guess we'll find out. Michael, what's going on? At this point, I'm more worried about that front 7 than the secondary. Oh, well, yeah, I get it. I've talked about it earlier in the stream. Like, edge rusher, I think is a problem. Linebacker, I feel very, very good. Like, I feel like there's been a lot of productivity at that position. We have to wait till the first game and see, but I felt good about Trotter Jr. I felt really good about Devin White is a run-stuffing, tackling, in-your-face nightmare. Okay, reviving his career where it should be. Devin White knows the Eagles need a linebacker for the rest of time. Okay, they need a linebacker on a long-term deal. They need that guy in the middle, and I think Devin White's going to be that guy. Zach Bond is really the only question for me because I feel like Zach Bond has been like Fangio's pet, like since when he got introduced in his introductory press conference. First person he talked about was Zach Bond. And it's been Zach Bond. I've seen him get off tackles and make good tackles against the run. But I need to see more. Like I said, the first game is going to be exciting because we just want to see more. You know what I mean? We got a super chat from Donnell Shipley. Thank you so much, my friend. He says, what's up with Reed Blank? Haven't heard from him. He's made some tackles here and there, but he's been on the quiet side at times. He's been on the quiet side here and there. Like I said, there are Eagle fans that fight with me over Reed Blankenship that I feel like every time Eagle fans piss me off a lot every offseason because every position needs to have an all-pro. Every position needs to have perfect depth. You can't do all this shit in one offseason. I don't know what some of these whether they're really young fans or old fans or mid fans, I have no idea. But at this point, dude, you got to just do whatever you could do. Some guys are a fit for the scheme. Some guys are just a better fit, a role-playing player that are good with good players around him. Like, that's what it comes down to. And I think that's what you have. Everybody's not going to be an all-pro player this year. You have guys that probably have never played in the NFL. They're going to start this year. I mean, you have guys that, Isaiah Rodgers was suspended for a whole year, and look how he's played this offseason. Like, there's a lot of what-ifs. But I feel good about it. I feel Vic is taking the strong suits of these players, putting them to the test. If he feels like they can handle it and play well, not just being able to play and line up, but if they're playing well, they completely deserve it. He's taking a lot of gambles, man. A lot of gambles. This is the first year where we look at this defensive line and we say to ourselves, man, remember all these other years? We'd be like, man, look at all the depth on the defensive line. It's actually nice. It's actually really nice not to depend on the defensive line every single year. I don't want to depend on this defensive line for cover. I don't want to depend on the defensive line every single game. Like, I would like, yes, I think we need to find our closer, because I think with Hassan Reddick, the one thing you lost, as much as Hassan Reddick is not consistent from game to game, 1 month no sacks, another month 7 sacks, streaky player. The one thing that I can agree with is that you lost a closer because honestly, Hassan Reddick was your guy. You really depended on him to really get the pressure and kind of close these games out. And I thought he did a good job of that last year. So appreciate the super chat, by the way, Donnell. Iron Mike said Judon would have made me feel much better with our line. Yeah, they might have missed out on that. Yannick Ngakoue is still out there right now, so I guess we'll find out where he goes. To Philly, they said, I don't want Jalen Mills back. Jalen Mills is garbage. I think you said this last stream. I think I can remember you said this last stream. Yeah, well, he wouldn't start, man. I don't think he's that much garbage. I think as like a role player, I think he'd be fine. I think with good weapons around him, I think on the defense, I think he would play fine. But Devin White runs a 4.4. That's insanely fast for a linebacker. Yeah. I mean, I don't really care about the 4.4. Like, he's not ever going up to a speed of 4.4 in a game. Like, people need to relax with the 40 times as a linebacker. You're not running the 40-yard dash as a linebacker. You're not running in a straight line as a linebacker all the time either. For that long to reach that speed. Is he quick? Sure. Yes, it's there. But the 40-yard dash, the 40-yard, mark is kind of ridiculous at this point. Yeah, sure. Like for receivers, it would probably count because, they do run go routes. They do other things, but he does have speed, no doubt. See here. All right, Mike says, did you see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson don't want Mills? No Green Goblin. Yeah, I saw that tweet today. He's like, nah, we're good. We're good with what we have. Somebody tweeted a picture of Chauncey next to Jalen Mills and like a picture like, oh, look at this duo would be like, so hype and the attitude would change. And, it's like, nah, dude. He's like, nah, we don't need that. He's like, nah. Well, I'm done. We don't need this. It's a passing league now. Your defense only needs to be average. You don't need it. You don't need some top. You don't need. I mean, yes, you should have at least a top 10 defense this year. Top 15. Top 15 would definitely do you. Okay, if you can get in the top 15, you'll be average. Top 10, you'll be a lot better than we thought. Top 5, damn. Vic Fangio changed his defense around quickly. You know what I mean? Tommy, what's going on, dude? He said the biggest question mark. Can this defense be average or slightly better than average? That's all we need. That's all we need with an elite offense. Yeah, you don't really need much as long as they, on average, if they can make the stops, if they can make the stops that matter, you're in good praise, bro. You're in good praise. Rico says, I think Vic Fangio is going to blitz more than normal this year. And let me tell you something, dude. When Vic Fangio said, quote unquote, I believe in blitzing, and I believe it. It's not like all the shit that Sean Desai said and all the, you're seeing it. these blitz packages, corner blitz, Zach Bond and Bryce Huff blitz, Devin White, picks up the slack on the back end. Like, they're going to throw different things at you. And I got to say, dude, like, I love it. You have a passive off-ball scheme with blitzing involved, like with a little bit of a physicality involved with it. I absolutely love it. I think it's great. I think it's great. We've seen it. I mean, I believe he's going to blitz. Trust me. If he says I believe in I believe in blitzing as a coach, and we didn't see it, then I'd be like, dude, he's straight up lying to everybody. But Iron Mike said, I won Yank 4 years ago, and every year after, does he still got juice? He does. He can still get you 5 to 7 sacks. I don't think he'll give you that 7 to 9 like he would, but he'll give you that 5 to 7, maybe a little bit more than that, but you have a full-on edge rusher in your defense. That's the problem I have. Like, just like Nakobe Dean. Like, Nakobe Dean, as long as he's not backpedaling, as long as he's not in pass coverage and he's tackling something that's in front of him, he's fine. But the big question is, like, I don't want Vic Fangio to start putting him in, like, start chasing guys in coverage and just getting beat. I got to say, after that open practice where he literally looked like an idiot and got his ankles broken twice by Kenneth Gainwell, he couldn't even tackle what was in front of him or even cover Kenneth Gainwell. You know what I mean? And I thought he played pretty damn good. I agree with the Jalen Mills comment. He is not it. Thomas said, I know I've been hating on Nolan as defensive end from what he's shown, but I really think we have him in the wrong position we would be good at. Well, that's what we really want to find out going to the offseason program. Like, where were they going to put him? I figured maybe they would have tried him at outside linebacker, since linebacker was a big competition where we knew it was going to be a big competition this year. Regardless, never did it. Flippers, how was our defense in 2017? We had a good defense in 2017, but mainly it was because of the pass rush and Malcolm Jenkins covering a lot of bandaged spots. With Ronald Darby and Jalen Mills, were they the best corners? No, but pressure garnishes less, time to cover in situations where it takes a lot of pressure off your secondary. And every time there was a matchup or an injury, Malcolm Jenkins really bandaged up our weakness in that secondary. He really did. So that's why I really want Cooper DeJean to turn into that type of player, that Swiss Army knife player that plays all over the field. And obviously, if there's a player that's killing us on certain matchups, Fangio will make that decision to make those changes if he has to. The defense can't get worse, bro. Vic's got a good resume. He's never won a Super Bowl, though. That's the only thing he hasn't done. Let's see. Conrina says, if you look at the tape, Max is pretty sold at safety. Told at safety? Yeah, I mean, sure. I mean, probably is. They got Bradbury back there, though. So you're telling me that Maddox is not going to play nickel at all? I think he will. I think he'll be playing both if he needs to. You know what I mean? Bobby says, the Kobe Dean is a bust. Prove me wrong. Gotta watch the first game, bro. Gotta watch the first game. Well, number one, let's be frank here. Calling a third-round pick a bust is technically not a bust. A bust is a first-round talent. The label bust, there's no bust. There's no bust. He's either going to be a good player or he's going to be a bad player, and that's it. There's no bust label. The bust label is first-round picks. That's where you put the bust label. Nolan Smith, bust. That's where you can label a player, not a guy that's a third-round pick. So, who you guys says one name we have not heard, Reed Blankenship. I hope he's doing his thing. I've seen him. I've heard some good things making tackles. And I actually had a couple the last few days. There was a couple passes that he deflected as well in coverage. So we'll see how that goes. I don't think he's going to be perfect in coverage, but people think he's. I don't know. The next Ed Reed. I have no idea. He's the Ed Reed Blankenship, not Reed Blankenship. That's what everyone's put him as. I think he's a solid player as a rotational piece. If they have to put him in for a game or he has to fill in, I think he'll be fine. But as the best, probably not. Iron Mike says pick one to cut, Maddox or Ringo. Maddox. I mean, why would I keep Maddox after all those injuries? I mean, I don't even care if it has nothing to do with the position at all. Like, you're just telling me straight up Maddox or Ringo? Yeah, I'd be keeping Ringo in a heartbeat. There's no question about it. Nolan is my bust in my opinion. Okay. Nolan has to prove me wrong. I get it. I'm not disagreeing. Like, it could be fucking true. Honestly, it really could be true. I would say second rounders could be labeled bust, early seconds. Yeah. Well, I mean, Cooper DeJean was a first round talent, but the way the draft went this year, 14, 15 players, offensive players, 15 offensive players or 14 were taken. Like, no defensive player was taken until the 14, 15 pick. You know what I mean? So it's like he landed right in our lap pretty damn much. So would you currently label Jordan Davis a bust? Right now, no. Right now, no, because I need to see what he does this season. This is his moment to shine. This is his moment to shine. So, no. So, Philly Birds, he was behind Derek Barnett and couldn't win the job. Who? Yeah, but you know the favoritism they had with Derek Barnett in Philadelphia. They couldn't bench his. They would never bench him. They never benched him. All right, Joe. I want to see JD at nose and Milton and JC on outside with Huff and Sweat off all rushes. Yeah, I mean that's what I'm waiting to see right now. You know what I mean? Tom said, just curious, but have their uniforms for Brazil? I think. Have they? I thought they did. I don't know, actually. I'm not sure. I thought I saw something of like weeks back. I mean, they're home, so I'm expecting them to wear the greens, right? I guess. Midnight green home jerseys? I'm not sure, dude. Jakaraku says, Davis ain't a bust. What? Yeah, so, like, Davis has shown us some good things last year, but like I said, guys, everybody fell off last year. There wasn't one besides like Fletcher Cox. Like there's a couple players on defense that really stood out last year. But I gotta say, like Jordan Davis, like a really good beginning of the season, like run stuff ability, pass rush ability. Guy was just disruptive. And when they blitzed, when they knew how to blitz and when they did blitz, holy shit. It was bodies all over the place. Jordan Davis would push a lineman into a running back into the quarterback. I mean, it was insane, dude. You know? It was insane. Who's your dad says, with the little bit we've seen in defensive play calling, you see us top 5? It's hard to tell right now. I think the Eagles I think defensively they will go through their growing pains a little bit. I'm not saying that terribly where we're like, oh my God, what are they doing? I think they will go through their growing pains, just getting used to being in an NFL game. A lot of young guys, like I get it. Top 5, I don't know, man. The least I'll say is top 10. They'll rank in the ladder from 8. They'll rank from 5 to 15. And that's all you really have. That's really all you have to be at. You don't have to be a top 5 defense to win a Super Bowl. You have an explosive offense behind as your support. The defense just has to be just average to at least just make some stops when it matters. I don't need insane statistics and like Maybe they won't be a generational defense, which could have became that in 2022 with 70 sacks. And it might not look like that. We might have more interceptions. The secondary is upgraded. Us Eagle fans are freaking out right now because we're not used to this defensive line. I wouldn't say being ignored, but not putting a lot of, when you think about it, they did put a lot into that defensive line this year. They did, but because of the scheme and the off-ball coverage and the ends going in coverage, people get very defensive and they get really pissed off over it when it's not really being aggressive. You're working off of fast break tackles from secondary guys, getting off their blocks, 5-6 helmets to the football. Pick machine players, getting those interceptions, turnovers, you name it, we'll do it. I think we'll be all right. Kyrie says JC 10 sacks, Huff 8 sacks, Graham 6.5, Davis 3.5, Nolan 1 sack, book it. Look, if it ends up that way, it ends up that way. I hope Nolan Smith does more than that, but as long as Nolan Smith is disruptive, which he helps another player. Look, at the end of the day, look what happens. Like Jeremiah Trotter Jr. at linebacker, right? He gets in the backfield. He literally has the player down for -3 yards. He whiffs the tackle, but it disrupts the timing of the offensive play for another player on the defense to make the play. So instead of a -3 play, it became a -1. But it all comes down when you make these tackles, it comes down to instinct. Okay, you can't be taught instinct. Like, that just has to come out of you. You just have to be the player that you could be well inside to grab the guy, take him to the ground. I think Jeremiah Trotter Jr. has a nose for the football, and there is points where as long as you're disruptive, like even if you're not making tackles, you're making someone else succeed. So, like, if Nolan Smith, has 5 pressures in a game and it created big plays, it's going to be thankful for Nolan Smith because another player made a play off of what he did. So because the sack numbers aren't that important, the pressures will be more important. Why do you think Brandon Graham never has been respected as an edge rusher his whole career, especially the latter part of his career? Because for pressures, hey, he's been fantastic. When it comes to pressure, it's always disrupting the timing of the offense. He does that. And on top of everything else, you know what I mean? If he's not getting the sacks, his pressure is making another player make a play. It's getting someone else to make a play. So getting pressure and not getting the quarterback isn't a failed play, depending on how the play ends, but it's helping another. It ruins how the offense is running in that moment, in that play. So it really, the Nolan Smith having 1 sack for the year, I would really hope he has more than that. I'm sorry, but he should. But see how many tackles he has. See if he gets a couple picks this year. See the pressure he brings this year. Getting rid of Hassan Reddick was a tough decision because if Nolan Smith had at least 5 sacks last year and he was productive, it would have made me feel a little bit better to get rid of Hassan Reddick for a bag of chips. But obviously we know how that situation is rolling with the New York Jets right now. Hasn't signed his contract yet. The Eagles didn't want to deal with the holdout. Reddick is sticking with the number that he wants to stick with, and that's it. That's it. The Eagles said, you know what? Let's rip the Band-Aid off as fast as we possibly can. Let him walk and just let the Jets fucking deal with that problem. And that's what they did. Simple as that. By the way, we have 202 in the chat right now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you up the stream like crazy. Check the pinned comment. Become a member. Support the Shake Squad Army. I appreciate it so much. Check the links in the description below on other stuff. I have a Twitch account that I do stuff on, so definitely check that out. Check out the Philly Shakedown Podcast merch. The merch has been selling like crazy. Get your t-shirts before, I don't know if my man's running out of t-shirts yet, but make sure you're ordering. We have a redemption line we will show on this stream later on. So appreciate everybody joining up tonight, and much love to everybody coming into the chat tonight. By the way, since training camp is over, we're on to the next phase of everything. I want to thank everybody for supporting all the videos, supporting all the streams, and just supporting me in general. And obviously us not attacking each other like crazy. We can have different opinions, but at the same time, what do we all want? We want a Lombardi in Philadelphia. We want the second championship to be in Philadelphia, and that's what all that matters with all of us. So I want to thank everybody for all that support this offseason, and I want to thank everybody for, for someone to give me a view on a video, for someone to give me a like on a video. It makes me really happy how far I've come, and you guys are the real MVPs of this channel, so I just want to say that. I don't say it enough, but you guys are the reason why this channel is what it is, and I don't have Eagle fans in New York, okay? I live in New York. I have no Eagle fans over here. It's easy for me to go on here and talk to you guys and maybe do an open stream with other people coming in and giving their thoughts on what the season could look like. So I want to say thank you to all you guys for all of your support, all that great stuff. And this video is sponsored by SeatGeek. Promo code Joey Shakes, $20 off on any festivals, concerts, sporting events. You're getting Eagles tickets on SeatGeek. You'll get $20 off your tickets, man. $20 off. May not seem a lot, but let me tell you something. Every dollar matters. So link in the description. Use my code, Joey Shakes, promo code, and go use that code and get $20 off your Eagles tickets. Appreciate it so much, guys. Love you all, by the way. Let's see. Joe Sam says we are banking on Devin White to teach Dean how to. We're banking to teach Dean how to be nasty. Oh, sure, bro. I mean, no doubt, though. Like, this is why you have Slay, Brandon Graham, Devin White could teach these guys. Like, I'm telling you, it's a bigger help than anybody really realizes. Okay, no doubt, it's a huge help. Okay, so feel good about it, guys, to have Devin White. Devin White is going to annihilate. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be really good. It's gonna be really good. CJ says, I would never yell at you. I want to know if you're going to any Eagles home games this year. If so, I went up to you. Would you accept it? Accept what? Wait, I'm confused. I would never yell at you. I want to know if you're going to any Eagles games this year. If so, if I went up to you, would you accept it? What, accept somebody coming up to me and saying hi? Is that what you mean? Yeah, I'm not an asshole. I'm not going to be like, yeah, get the hell out of my face. I don't want to talk to you. Like, what are you talking about? What is that? What are we talking about? Of course, I would. What would I accept? I'm accepting like somebody just, I don't know. You worded that in a weird way, just a little bit at the end, but maybe I'm just, just saying, I don't know. But I accept everybody, dude. I accept everybody to talk to. Trust me. No issue, no problem. Rico Mart. Thank you so much for the super chat, my friend. He says, thanks for the content, bro. Hey, I am always here to not walk on eggshells and give you the best of what I could do. It's really not even the best of what I could do. It's just me being an Eagles fan, giving my opinion, and that's all this channel is. That's it. There's no trying to be the best at anything on here. There's no, especially I'm not trying to be the best at trying to, sometimes I'm wrong, sometimes I'm right. It's just, I'm not always right about things. Sometimes you guys are more right than I am, Yeah, Leon says, Joey, I want to go to a game, but tickets are so damn expensive. It's expensive, bro. It's no joke, bro. It's a lot of money, dude. I don't blame people for staying home. Your bathroom's right here. You got food right there. And then there's people that just don't want to deal with it sometimes. It's a lot. I get it, especially when your team is good down the line. That when you get tickets now for later. If you wait to get tickets for a specific game later on and the Eagles are good, the tickets are going to be more expensive because the team is playing good. That's how that whole thing goes. Appreciate for that super, Rico. I appreciate it so much, man. Bobby with the super chat. Thank you so much, man. He said Vince Papale made the Eagles relevant again. Back when the Eagles weren't good, when they were more, where there was more bad seasons than good at that time. Kind of crazy, right? Love the movie, by the way. Love the movie. Mr. Phil says, Joey, how has Saquon and his back injury the other day? Any updates? Yeah, so he's just resting. That's really it. So He's gonna rest for a few days. Nothing serious. It was a little bit of a scare. Just a little. I think it was just a little strain. Like sometimes you get that little strain pain in your back, but it's nothing serious at all. It's just something that you just get from just doing things. But it's nothing serious. We were breathing heavy. We were breathing heavy when Mekhi Becton went down with that leg injury. We were breathing heavy. I know we were breathing heavy with that. Ron said, it's going to be tough if Devin White has a monster year and him and Howie can't get a deal done. Let me tell you something right now. I swear on my mother's grave, okay, if the Eagles don't re-sign one of these two, whether Zach Bond has a big year or Devin White has a big year, they have got to sign one of them. It's got to happen. I don't want them after this year to say, hey, if Devin White has a monster year, they're going to go into next year and say, you know what? We still have Nakobe Dean. We still have Trotter Jr. We still, I don't want them to do that again. Stop kicking the can down the road. Keep kicking the can down the road, saying the same shit, keeping what you have in-house. That's the only shitty part. Your starters are going to be two guys that are on one-year deals. That's like the only shitty part about it. At least I would have gave Devin White a 2-year deal, at least. Tommy says year after spending a couple stacks on 50-yard line seats for the San Fran game this year, I'm thinking I'm gonna save my money and what? Dude, save your money. Go buy a fucking boat. Go buy a new truck. Go do something. Take your family on vacation, bro. Telling you. Stay home and watch the game. I don't blame anybody for, there's a lot of fans that are like, oh, you're just a TV fan. Like, what the fuck is that, dude? I used to hear that shit all the time back in the day. Oh, you're just a TV fan. You never go to the games. Yeah, well, maybe I can't afford to go to the fucking games. Maybe I don't want to go to the games. Like, when I go with my girlfriend, she wants to stay 2 fucking days. Okay? The day before and the day of. And then leave the day after the game. 2 days in hotels, plus a game, plus food, plus gas, plus losing my fucking voice if they win or lose. It's a whole fucking thing, dude. I can't stand that. I like to go to the game and leave and go home. The same fucking day. The same day. Game, home, done. Dunn said, I'm certainly not perfect. I'm one of them people that wanted to believe in Nolan Smith so bad. Same thing with Quez Watkins. Dude, there's nothing wrong with that. You like a player and you want to believe in a player, that's perfectly fine. I was the same thing with Carson Wentz. I was the same exact way. 2020. 2020. The first game against Washington, we were up 17-0. They came back and won, right? Washington won that game. I made a video saying something's wrong with Carson, something's wrong with Doug Peterson, something is wrong. The season's going to go really wrong, and we have to get out of this whole situation. You know what I mean? And I got stabbed. 1 million paper cuts stabbed after making that video. What are you talking about? Carson's the future. I had enough. I couldn't support him anymore. I was done. Every time he throws a bad ball, head down, demeanor totally changes in his face. The attitude just changed. Doug was very passive when Carson would go to the sideline. I was just like, you know what? This is just what it's going to be. There's no change in this shit. Crowley says I'm more comfortable on my couch too than in nosebleeds. Philly Bird said, I want trust me, at this point, guys, it's hard out there. Groceries are expensive. You can't buy a house. You can't do this. You can't do that. It's you can't even go to you eat fast food with 2 people. You're spending fucking $20, $30 for fast food. It's fucking insane, dude. It's the cost of living. I won't get into all that, but you know what I mean. The cost of living is fucking insane right now. The worst I've ever seen in my life. And you want to go to a football game for some asshole that puts his tickets online for 3 times the price, and you got to mortgage your fucking house to buy tickets, bro. That's how it is. Are you worried about the Packers? They have a great team, dude. Offensively, they're great. Josh Jacobs in the backfield now. Jordan Love is just ascending. Great weapons. It's going to be a close game. It's going to be close. It's going to be back and forth close game. Dude, that shit will eat my paycheck. Bobby with Super Chat. Thank you so much, man. He says, who else made the Wentz jersey into an A.J. Brown? I know one of my buddies did. It's a I appreciate Super Chat, but one of my buddies did do it. I never had a Carson Wentz jersey. It's a Philly thing. I was done with Carson Wentz after 18 game against the Saints, and we lost 48-7. Yeah, bro. We were one pass away, bro. 2018, we were one pass away from getting. You're talking about 2019. What are you talking about? 2018, we almost made it back to the Super Bowl. 2018, the Eagles could have won the Super Bowl that year. I believe it. They were literally one catch away from getting in there from Alshon Jeffrey. The Rams looked like shit. The Patriots looked like garbage. The Rams-Patriots Super Bowl was one of the most boring Super Bowls I ever watched. Tom Brady did nothing in that game. The defense really did everything in that game. You know what I mean? We should have kept Nick Foles and trade Carson. Yeah, it's probably, let me tell you, if they traded Carson after the 17 season, they probably would have got so many draft picks for him. If they traded Carson, they signed Nick Foles, they traded Carson Wentz, they would have had a future abundance of picks. But Wentz was the future, man. And Nick Foles goes to Jacksonville, and he gets hurt in his first game and breaks his collarbone and is out the whole entire year, which is fucking insane. That's why you get tickets. You get tickets right now for games. Where they get you is when you wait too long and the Eagles are, I'm only going to an Eagles game if they're playing well. I get it. People don't want to go there when they're fucking stinking up the joint and they're losing. So I get it. Dustin says, yeah, honestly, Jordan Love kind of surprised me last year. I think they will have a good competitive team for a while. Oh, yeah, they had a monster draft. The Eagles and Packers probably had the best drafts. The Packers had a monster draft. Fantastic. Yeah, I'm talking about 2018, the Eagles-Saints game. The Eagles-Saints where Alshon dropped it through his hands. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That game. Because if they win that game, I think they beat the Rams, and I think they beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, a rematch. I think they would have beat them pretty fucking easily, honestly. Because Patriots offense, The Rams were good in the regular season. They were destroying teams. They get into the playoffs, and they literally changed their whole playbook when they got into the playoffs. That's what a lot of these teams do, bro. They get into the play. That's why Doug used what got him to be a good team into the playoffs. He didn't change the playbook and be more conservative. He was the most aggressive coach, that just didn't back down. That's the only reason we won that Super Bowl. I mean, if he wasn't aggressive in that game, we would have lost. I mean, we would have lost that shit. Yeah, Edgar Cooper, bro. He's been great. He's been great. So yeah, the Super Bowl, the Rams Patriots was the most boring Super Bowl I've ever watched in my life. I literally fell asleep before the games ended. Deep Space, I took my wife out for our wedding to Burger King, $24. It's no fucking joke, bro. And don't be embarrassed to say that either, because, trust me, I have my favorite spots. I don't care how special the day is or not. If both of you love that shit and both of you enjoy that shit, that's all that matters, bro. Yeah, Gurley fell off after that. Yeah, true. Yeah, he disappeared, bro. I remember buying Whoppers for $1. I remember the dollar menu, bro. They don't even have. You have to use an app. There's an app for McDonald's now you can use. You actually get some cheap shit out of it. You have to use the app for McDonald's. The app for McDonald's, you can only use one thing on the app, I think, every day. And it's actually not bad. My girlfriend actually uses it a lot. Kind of great for Rams. Yep. Philly did Wentz dirty. Yeah, I could believe that. I feel like they tried to make him into they tried to use an RPO system with Wentz when he came back in 2018. Wentz gained a lot of weight. They used him in an RPO system, and he never escaped the pocket. He didn't look, when he went to the Colts, he looked like he was coming back to form after he left Philadelphia. But I think they really tried to handicap him on his strengths, and use what Foles did all year. Because Carson, like, the one thing I'll say this, even watching him in preseason this year, fucking Carson's got an arm. That man has got a fucking cannon still. That's the one thing I'll say. He's got a fucking arm. If Alshon Jeffrey caught the ball in New Orleans, the Eagles go back to Super Bowl. Oh, 100. I fucking believe you 1,000,000%. I believe you 1,000,000%. 100,000,000%. They would have won back to back. I believe it. I totally fucking believe it. Bye, Babinski with Super Chat. Thank you so much, Basis. Can we trade coaches, Nick for Doug, Ski Mask Howie? I think Nick, I didn't want to listen to Nick last year into this year. I didn't want to listen to Nick's press conferences going into this offseason. I'm not going to lie. But what I can say is this. A few press conferences ago, he did like explain that last year was all his fault. Yes, you're gonna take the knife for all your players. You know, you're gonna take a shot for all your players. I get it, but I have to say, like, he really said, like, hey, I had a lot of issues. You know, I made a lot of mistakes last year. I have to give him respect for that because a lot of coaches won't do that shit. And I think he's really taking a back seat. I think he has no involvement in the offense. No involvement in the defense. You could fucking tell by the way we run our offense or run our defense this year, especially in preseason training camp. It's night and day. It's night and fucking day. Okay? So, as of right now, like, Nick has been on my better side just a little tiny bit, not fully. Let him just be like, he's like Dan Campbell. He's just like Dan Campbell. There's offhands coaches in the league. Okay? A hands-off coach. Dan Campbell's a hands-off coach. Perfectly fine. He's a rah-rah type guy. Keep the spirit, keep the culture in the building. That's what Nick is here for. That's it. Yeah, Rocksteady said they built a shrine of his backup. Yeah, well, yeah, but dude, they were gonna do that. Like, I think we all knew they were gonna have something. They were going to build something for that Super Bowl. The infamous play that won us the Super Bowl, the Philly special, won us the Super Bowl. And obviously that's, obviously the stop on fourth down. We were up 8 points, but they could have scored and tied the game up. You know what I mean? Like, it's what it is. And the Philly thinks Carson quits, did not have a good 21 season with the Colts. He choked the last game of the season yeah, that was a horrible playoff. That was a playoff game. I forgot what that was, but it was a bad game, dude. Carson, I mean, everybody, I don't think it was just him. I think everybody fell apart. Even in some of the Carson's preseason games with the Chiefs, like, he's had some good moments, but he's had some Carson moments. Holding onto the ball too long, doing Carson things as he usually does, But we're done. Rock say it's a Philly thing. Carson did have a good year with the Colts. He had one bad game in the end. He had an okay year. He didn't have, I thought he had a good year, but this is a guy that's been handed a starting job on a fucking silver platter. This is the main reason. To the Colts with Frank Reich, his buddy, handed the job on a silver platter, no competition. Went to the Commanders, handed the job on a silver. I mean, come on now. You went from one good roster to a better offensive roster. Really, what the Commanders have been missing is a starting quarterback, and now they have one. But I got to say, dude, like, you were handed the starting job twice without competing for it. As soon, you know what I mean? And Jalen Hurts went right in and fucking physically and mentally beat him. Logan said, I like the idea of promoting a successful coordinator to head coach, overlooking a head coach after a bad season. Yeah, that does work. That does work. Revolution Greg says, what up with all these sacks reports today? Yeah, a bunch of players did today. Rigo says they gave Doug credit for calling that play, but it was actually Foles. Well, yeah, because he came up with it. They've practiced it. The coaches implemented that play as a trick play that to see if they would use ever. They never used it all season. And yeah. The Philly thing said in 2020, I won Carson Wentz benched after the Steelers game. I don't even remember that whole entire season at all, to be honest with you. That entire season. But we're in a different mode now. We have changed dramatically since that moment. Am I surprised that Carson Wentz is still in the league right now? Kind of. He might win. He hopefully if, we're going to be the only thing that stops him from winning a ring this year. I'm hoping. So it's going to be really interesting, man. It's going to be really interesting. We got 170 in the chat now. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for more Eagles news every single day. We will be streaming the preseason game against the Vikings this Saturday at 1 p.m. And we will have a shakedown Saturday. So it's just like almost a game day when me and Philly do a shakedown podcast afterwards that night, not right after, but that night. We will have a shakedown that night, and we'll be streaming that game this week, so it should be a lot of fun. And yeah, we'll have a stream probably on Friday, the night before. So during the week of the regular season, since we have a week and a half left, I'll be streaming probably 5 times a week, probably Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, Philly Shakedown included. So we're gonna be doing a lot of work this season, a lot of work, and I'm gonna be very critical of this team this year. I'm not fucking, I'll give it a couple weeks, but things better start to tighten up after a couple weeks. I'm not waiting 5-6 weeks and I'm still saying, they just need to gel more, they need to work more together, But am I happy about this offseason program? I'm happy about what has happened, but I'm not happy about how they have. The only thing I think Nick has had control over, and I think these training camp practices have been really fucking demanding. I think if you hear a veteran player say this is the toughest training camp I've ever been through, shit's fucking real. Shit's real. Okay. And that's where I'm at right now. Your starters have not played in a preseason game, and they played one day. One fucking practice of joint practices. That's it. That's it. Not 2 days of joint practice. They were full pads for one day, and then they were literally limited. Sorry, they were in walkthrough the next day. So they didn't even hit. They barely did anything the second day of joint practices. That's what makes me nervous. Because if this bullshit happens where the offense looks, they look so confused and the fucking timing's off. It shouldn't be 305 passes from Jalen Hurts in Eagles training camp. Okay? 305 passes, and Jalen Hurts finally gets intercepted by Darius Slay at practice on the last day, the 17th day of training camp. 305 passes, 304 passes without a pick. So I'm hoping whatever's working is working. I see the plays. I see Jalen Hurts having really good fucking days. Good days against the a good practice against the Patriots. Fantastic. I just hope it's enough. That's all I'm saying. Because watch, and I'm not trying to shit on the team, but I'm just saying this. Watch Hurts throws a pick in the Green Bay game and everybody just flips the fuck out over it. He doesn't do it all training camp, but no, of course in a fucking game. That's what I'm looking. That's what I'm starting to think that's gonna happen. We might win the game, but, you know, it's just, I don't know, bro. Bobby Babinski, what's going on, man? He says, makes me sick to see Wentz on the Chiefs. Hawk to it. Yeah, I get it. Someone was like, oh, yeah, did you see Carson Wentz on the Chiefs? I'm like, I totally forgot he even went there. I totally forgot. Like, the only time I was thinking about him after he left the Eagles is when I was keeping track of his snaps with the Colts because we were going to get a first-round pick out of that. If Wentz played a certain, I forgot what the percentage of snaps. If he plays a certain amount of snaps percentage-wise, the Eagles, that second-round conditional, turned to a first-rounder. We would have the Colts first-rounder. That Colts first-rounder got us Devontae Smith. It got us Devontae Smith. Literally. That and like another pick, it got us Devontae Smith, which is great. So I can't complain at all. Devin White can plug the gaps and stop the run. Our linebackers last were just lost and didn't know. Well, dude, every position was lost. We had back-end communication issues last year, the whole season. You switched defensive coordinators, dude. Like, the players can only deal with so much. They can only play good for so long. Or not. They didn't play well all year. The offense didn't play well last year. Yes, they've had good games, but the offense last year, what brought us far last season was the talent. The talent can only get you so far. But if you don't make any adjustments to defenses, making adjustments against your offense, you don't adjust back. That's it, dude. You're done. It's over. It's just over after that. You know? Eagles Clip says, it's going to suck to lose Kellen after this year, but hopefully Hurts does what he said, saying and make this offense his own, kind of like how Brady did it. Matter who was the OC was caused. It was, yeah, but dude, the head coach had a lot of control over keeping the plays in-house. And for a lot of years, he had the same coordinator in a lot of years. If they lose Kellen Moore, the Eagles are finished. They can't lose Kellen Moore. The only thing they can do is they'll demote Sirianni to assistant head coach and have Kellen Moore be the head coach. Or they pay Kellen Moore a shit ton of money for not going anywhere else. You can block Kellen Moore from interviews if it's for an offensive coordinator job. You can't block Kellen Moore from getting a head coaching job because it's obviously a higher pivotal job. You can't let Kellen Moore leave after a year. I'm sorry, but you're saying that, if Kellen Moore leave, like, let me tell you, Kellen Moore can't leave. If he leaves, the Eagles are fucking done for. Simple as that. Back to square one of finding out what our identity is and another coach coming in and fucking everything up. So that's where we're at right now. We'll get to that point when we get to it. We'll get to it, okay? But I wouldn't be alarmed about that shit right now. Ron says, can you imagine Eagles and Chiefs get back to the bowl and Pats has a season-ending injury, the playoffs, and it's Hurts versus Wentz in the big game? Oh, my God, bro. That'd be a hell of a story. That would garnish a lot of views. That would garnish a lot of publicity. Carson Wentz facing his old team, you know. They'd be done for. Losing to Andy Reid was rough enough, but losing to Carson Wentz with Andy Reid is even fucking worse. It's like futures past. It's like you're losing against the futures past. It's fucking weird. I don't know. So that's where I'm at with the whole thing. And that's where we're at. So, but other than that, guys, we're hitting the 2-hour mark. We're probably going to head off here. We'll be back. We'll have a video tomorrow for you guys, and obviously everything that happened the other day and some things I want to kind of put into consideration. But, you know, we have 15 days until the regular season. I can't wait. I'm pumped for it. And there's a lot to look forward to. So most likely I will see you guys on Friday night. We'll have a video out tomorrow. And obviously we'll be streaming the game on Saturday. We'll have a stream of shakedown on Saturday night. All that great stuff. And we'll be ready to go. So you guys, thank you for the super chats. Thank you for everything, all the support today. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe. We're here every single day doing content, having fun, and going through the season together. Make sure you subscribe, like the stream. You hit the like button. That helps me out tremendously. You have no idea. This stream is sponsored by SeatGeek. Get your tickets for your sports. For your going to Philadelphia Eagle games, concerts, festivals, hit my link in the description below for SeatGeek for $20 off. Promo code Joey Shakes, and that's it. I will see you guys Friday, and we'll talk more the day before our third preseason game, the night before our preseason game, and we'll be back. All right, love you all. I'll see you guys on the next one. Remember. Shakes, what up, Flower Slide? Peace out, guys. Peace.